Hi everyone, it is Elle and welcome back to Inner Cosmetics, where we explore the beauty within ourselves. So, I had one of those moments this week that made me pause. And it wasn't out of confusion, but more so awareness, because someone at work had asked me, do I go to church? And that's a question I often get for whatever reason. And it's always interesting on how it comes up. So I thought it'd be a great conversation for today. In the past, I used to answer, I would say that question pretty straightforward, like, no, I don't go to church. And right after, without fail, I get like a full sermon on why I should go, why it's important. And it kind of felt like why I'm missing something. And honestly, I used to just sit there. I would be polite. I would nod. I would listen, even though internally I've already learned that truth for myself. So I was never really offended. I just realized that people are only speaking from the level that they reached in their own personal journey, right? But this time, when I was asked this week, my answer, it was a lot, I would say, different. Instead of giving the normal response, I simply just smiled and I touched my heart and I said, church is right here. So I didn't say it to sound deep or anything. I just said it because that's what's true. Church is right here. It's in our heart space. I feel that God isn't someone that we visit. It's something that we are. And so when you start remembering that, it changes how we show up. It's not just on Sunday. I feel it's every single day that we do when we realize that. And a lot of us, I know for myself, I'll speak for myself, we've been taught that the connection to God or source or however you want to call it, it comes to attendance through showing up somewhere, like sitting in a pew or listening to a particular message. And I definitely get that because there's community there, right? There's structure, there's guidance, and I feel there's comfort that comes with that. But for me, that never defined my level of closeness with God. Because when you strip away the titles, the roles, the routines, what's left is you and your awareness of being alive. And that's where church lives. It's not in the building. It's not even in a book. It's in breath. It's in silence. It's in stillness between your thoughts, and that's where I find God every day. So I think people, when they ask me that question, I think maybe it's because they feel something when they talk to me. Maybe they can't quite put their finger on it, so their mind tries to categorize it like, oh, maybe she's religious. Maybe she goes to church. But I feel what they're feeling is alignment. Maybe they're feeling the peace that comes when you stop chasing connection and you just start being it. And I guess one of the things I find interesting is how quick people are to defend their version of the truth. And it's not always from ego. Sometimes it could just be from fear that someone believes differently. Maybe their own belief might be challenged or not as solid as they thought. I was definitely there before. And so instead of asking, hey, tell me more, about like, what do you mean by that? The instinct is to correct you a lot of times. So when I say church is right here, I could see, I don't know, maybe it was confusion on their face between maybe curiosity, maybe discomfort, because we live in a world that has trained us to see divinity as somewhere else. We pray up, we look out, we reach far, but rarely are we told just to look in. And that's not rebellion, that's simply remembering. So we've been, I would say, conditioned to believe that separation from God exists, that there's some distance for us to cross, a test to pass, maybe a ritual to complete before we're worthy of love, of grace, of peace. But what if none of that was ever actually real, right? What if the distance was only this illusion that we created by the mind, a byproduct of us just forgetting that we were never separate to begin with? So when I said church is right here, I wasn't I wasn't rejecting religion. I was simply remembering relationship. Because when you live from that space, when your heart becomes your altar, everything you do is worship. Washing the dishes, laughing with your kids, sending a text, forgiving someone, forgiving yourself. So that's prayer in motion. And I think sometimes people mistake freedom for rebellion. They see someone at peace with the same structure and they might think, oh, she must not believe. But it's actually the opposite. So it's a belief that's grown so wide that it can't be contained anymore. And it's love that's expanded beyond walls, beyond rituals, beyond belonging to one singular label. And that's hard for some people to process because we've been told that, hey, belong to a particular group. But what if the truest form of belonging is belonging to yourself first? So when you belong to your own soul, you don't lose faith. You embody it. And when you walk with it, when you breathe with it, and when you can laugh through it, you stop seeking God because you see God in everything, in everyone, in yourself. And you know what it does? It makes life lighter. It softens judgment, not just towards other people, but mainly between and towards, yourself. So you stop trying to measure your worth by performance. Did I pray enough? Did I show up enough? Because you're starting to realize that you were the prayer this entire time. And I kind of noticed something else lately, that this world, for whatever reason, loves giving us practices. And there's nothing wrong with it. Meditation, journaling, chanting, affirmations, yoga, breath work, and all of them, they can be beautiful, healing, they can be very grounding. But I do want to remind us that something that changed my entire way of seeing all of that. Practices, they're not the actual destination. They're just a pathway that guide the sleeping parts of us back to remembrance. Because everyone's avatar, this body that we're in, this personality, is a temporary expression and it wakes up in layers. And so when somebody tells you, hey, this is the secret to peace, or, you have to do this in order to connect with God, remember, they're simply offering the practice that their avatar needed in that chapter of awakening. So it's not wrong. It's not lesser. It's just what their conscious required at that point to feel closer to the truth of who they are. And maybe you'll need it too for a time until you don't. And then perhaps you will again, and that's how awakening works. It's in cycles. It's not this straight line. It's a series of dissolving dreams. So one layer softens, another lifts, one identity fades, and another remembers. So through all of these phases, there's something steady. There's something quiet underneath all of the movement. Stillness, right? And that's where you always were. That's the real church. So the rest, the teachings, the titles, the practices, the beliefs, they're like these gentle lullabies that help the avatar drift back to wakefulness. So they're not the light itself. I say that's what helps us turn towards the light, but it's not the light itself. So when someone shares their practice with us, we can accept it with love. And when we outgrow it, we can release it with gratitude. Because every method, every mantra, there's any teacher that we run across, they're all pointing to the same place. And that's home. And home, it is not somewhere that we go. It's the awareness that we never left. And that's the real service, the Sunday that never ends. And if we forget that, that's okay too. Because even forgetting is part of remembering. So guys, thank you so much. You've been listening to Inner Cosmetics. I'm Elle, and I'm here to remind you to keep following the truth that lies within you.